On the northwest of the Isle of Rum lies Guirdil Bothy. It's a great place for a little bit of peace, a cosy night by the fire, or to watch the stars slip by overhead. And this is your beginner's guide on how to get the most out of your trip. The boat to Rum is called the Small Isles Ferry and is run by Calmac from the town of Malig. At the time of recording, the cost of a return trip for a foot passenger is £9.40. You'll arrive at Kinloch Pier, you walk past the Rum Visitor Centre, which is unmanned, but here you'll find toilets and showers. Then the Rum Bunkhouse and the castle before you get to the start point. You can grab supplies at the Co-op Food in Malig, but after you walk by the castle, you'll have a chance to grab any last minute supplies from the lovely people at the Rum General Store. The way to the Bothy itself is half track and half path. I've linked the route in the description below, as well as the OS app. It's always a good idea to have a map and a compass with you too. It's always worth keeping your eyes peeled for some of the wildlife. On this time, I saw a golden eagle and some of the red deer on my way into the Bothy.
So the path, it takes you to the river crossing here. Now the river's not too bad at the moment, but if you're a little bit worried about that in any way, shape or form, the rocks are a bit slippy underfoot. Just a couple hundred metres upstream, we're going to go up there and we're going to cross at an old cattle crossing, and it's a little bit easier to navigate, as hopefully you're just about this.
If you're not feeling confident with the river crossing further down, it is worth a few minutes it takes you to walk upstream to this point here.
So this is the old cattle track. Now, there's a little bit where your feet are pretty, like at the moment the water's quite low, and your feet will kind of skirt the top of the water. Get reasonable waterproof shoes, you'll be fine. So it's just very straightforward. Stepping onto the looser bits, and then up.
River crossings are an easy place for mishaps to happen, and it's definitely worth exploring a little bit further up and downstream should you be a little bit worried about any crossing on any walk that you go on. An alternative option I found when reviewing my drone footage was actually going downstream down to one of the bays, which I'll touch on later, and you can cross quite easily down there and come up the other side, as you'll see here. Guirdil Bothy is not a bothy that you are required to book. However, it's worth checking the Mountain Bothy Association's website to see if there are any work parties going on when your visit is planned for. The bottom room has tables and chairs, a big fireplace and some worktops. As you can see here, there is no ceiling before the roof, which means this bothy doesn't hold the heat very well and can be pretty cold in winter. The main room of the bothy should sleep 4 people, but the stone floor doesn't make it the most warm or the most comfortable. The second room on the bottom floor should sleep 4 people comfortably, and if you head up the stairs / ladder to the sleeping platform, another 4 can easily be accommodated up there. The water source that I used while staying at the Bothy was the Glen Guirdil burn, which you can see is pretty close to the Bothy. Now, I drank straight from the burn. However, if you're a bit more cautious, you might want to boil the water first, take some iodine tablets or a water purifier with you. As a basic rule of thumb, never drink from standing water, and ideally drink upstream from the Bothy itself.
So one of the first things to worry about is keeping warm. So a lot of that comes down to, is there firewood about? If there is not, then you need to make sure you're carrying something in. I'll show you one of my hacks a little bit later on, but for now I've got some firewood that I've collected today. all of it was standing dead. As you can see, there's no life in any of it at all. So I need to get that all chopped up.
That particular wood I grabbed dead from the woodland quite near the Bothy, and these two pins show an excellent couple of storm bays where there's almost an unlimited amount of driftwood for you to cut up and take back with you. The rock faces in the storm bay are pretty scarred up and quite hard to miss, but definitely worth the visit, especially in the colder months, to make sure that you've got enough wood to keep warm.
Not necessary, but if you're not bringing in fuel and you're relying on the stuff you get when you get here, one of the things that I like to bring is a fire log. These are like red light immediately. You got about, well, depending on which one you get, between 90 minutes to 3 hours of heat, and kind of get the fire going. So it's a pretty good idea to bring if you're getting in late and the chances of getting some firewood are pretty slim, or just if you're not too sure what's around. They cost £3 or so, and it's just actually a great thing to have in your bag, especially on the colder ones like this.
The toilet rules are pretty simple. Never go in the immediate vicinity of the Bothy or next to any good water source. Now around the Bothy, this means that the areas which are surrounded by the walls are no-goes. Most of these are options for those who bring tents who want to camp, and obviously you don't want to go anywhere near the burn or the standing water. It's in the wee pool next to it at the bottom. Bloodstone Hill is the hill next to the Bothy, and it's named after the stones which you'll find on the beach, which are green with little red flecks of iron in them. The people of Rum used this stone as a replacement for flint, and they used it in jewellery and trading with those from the mainland and some of the neighbouring islands. The climb is best performed by heading up Guirdil and looping round the back of Bloodstone Hill. An ascent of the hill is reviewed with an amazing view of Canna from the very top. Also, it's one of the only places in the area where you can get mobile phone signal, so should you wish to send any messages to let people know you're alive, that's your best bet. Whilst climbing up the hill, you might see red deer, goats, kestrel, and I was lucky enough to see 5 eagles in the sky at one time, which blew my mind a little bit. It's a lovely place to sit and watch the world go by, and I highly recommend taking a wee trip up there. The bays on the coast of Rum are tremendous fun to explore. Whether it's somewhere to sit, take in a sunset, to explore the natural archways in the rock, or the sea stacks that jut out of the water, there's a lot of sights and a lot of fun to be had. Heading down towards Glenshellesdown and the storm bays I mentioned before, there are some subterranean tunnels and archways that you can walk through. And lots of deer tracks and sea stacks to follow and to view. It's worth taking the time to explore them. And that leads us on to one of the next things you might see as you go along. Guirdil Bothy is one of my favourite places to go. It can be hard work, the days can be long and sometimes cold, but when you're sitting there by the fire at the end of it all, sometimes I genuinely can't think of a better place to be.